I am pleased to be your host today. I am President and CEO of the District of Columbia Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to our house. I think this is the first time for all but President McGuire and President Sessoms, who's on my board, that you've been to our new space here in the heart of Penn Quarter. And we love our space. We just moved here in September, and we love the new neighborhood. And it gives us an opportunity to have things like this where we have a lot more open space. Higher ed is a pillar of our region's economy. And many times the various governments don't recognize the impact that higher education has on the economy. And I'm parochial because I'll speak specifically about the district's economy, but we have the region represented here as well. The DC Chamber of Commerce represents over 1,700 members, small, mid-size, and large businesses that hire about 300,000 people in our region. And that's an awesome opportunity for economic development in our city. Many of the universities, in fact, most of the DC universities are members of the Chamber, from Howard to the University of the District of Columbia, American, George Washington, Georgetown, Trinity, Catholic, the Graduate School, Gallaudet, and of course the Consortium of Universities. So we have all of you in the Chamber's membership, and we are grateful for that, and we love our university partners. You know, popular wisdom holds it that we are a government town and that we are a tourism-based economy. And that's all true. But there's another pillar that gets under-recognized a lot, and that is higher education. And so this sector brings so much to the city and, of course, to this region. And what better place to have the kickoff and to show the economic impact, to have it in the DC Chamber of Commerce, because that's what we're all about, is doing business and encouraging and moving forward the economic vitality of this city. So we are pleased to welcome you here today. We are very anxious to hear the report and to hear all that you've got to say. And let me pledge the support of the DC Chamber of Commerce in this work as you move forward. I have had 2 university presidents as my boss in this role at the Chamber of Commerce. Charlene Drew Jarvis, who was president of Southeastern, hired me 9 years ago when she was chair of the Chamber. And Steve Trachtenberg, who was the president of George Washington University, was my boss about 5 years ago. So I have a great affinity for the university community, and I don't think we value you enough. And so I want to go on record. Anybody in the media here, you can quote me on that. And I'm hopeful that today sets a new day and moving forward. So thank you so much for coming. It's my pleasure to welcome you today. And I forgot to add that I serve on Trinity's board, you know? So I have lots of affinity with the university community. So John Childress, I'd like to ask you to come forward. He's the CEO of the Consortium of Universities.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Good morning, everybody. I'm John Childers, president of the Consortium, which is 14 four-year universities in and around the District of Columbia. We're a very unique consortium with public institutions, private universities, 3 state universities, 2 federal universities, and 9 privates. To kick us off today, I'd like to introduce the chairman of the board of the consortium, Dr. James Bunchu, president of Marymount University in Arlington, to set the stage for why we're here today. President Bunchu.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody. As college presidents, you know, we're immersed in the day-to-day world of higher education, and we're generally good at extolling the virtues of our own institutions, but we don't often get the opportunity to tell our collective story. So the consortium board made it a priority this year to gather data from all the member institutions to have a clearer sense of our positive impact on the region. Today, thanks to the good work of Professor Stephen Fuller and his team, we are excited to share the results of this comprehensive study. My colleagues will be presenting an overview of the educational, economic, and community impacts of the universities in the consortium. Thank you very much.
Before we get to Dr. Fuller's research summary, I would like to introduce some of our presidents to talk about the roles and contributions they make to the community. I'd like to start with President McGuire of Trinity University.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What a great pleasure to see so many friends here to talk about my favorite topic, which is the contribution of higher education to our region. And special thanks to you, Barbara Lang, our most important business leader in this region, and truly one of the great collegiate trustees in the region as well. Thank you for your service to Trinity also. A brief commercial break about Trinity just because it exemplifies the investment that institutions of higher education make and our economic impact. Trinity, today, 113 years old, educates 2,300 students, and in fact, 1,000 of those are residents of the District of Columbia. And many of these students might not have come to college except for the kind of support that Trinity gives to the students and the investment in their lives. And by the way, we're 98% female. In our historic undergraduate women's college, more than half of our students are DC residents, and fully 50% are graduates of the DC public schools. And Trinity invests in these students to the tune of $3.5 million a year in our own scholarship support, which is a lot of money on a $30 million budget, believe me. These students go on to graduate and take on important careers here in the District of Columbia and our neighborhoods. One of the things we started recently, 3 years ago, was a nursing program in partnership with MedStar. The Washington Hospital Center, we're right up the street, because in fact there's a nursing shortage in this town, as we all know. The nursing schools cannot produce enough healthcare workers. And as a result of that, we now have hundreds of students coming to Trinity just for our nursing program, and they're all local residents, which means they'll stay locally and work in our local hospitals. We have more than 7,000 alums in the region contributing to the economic health of the region, and more than 2,000 live right here in the District of Columbia. Now, the fact that the university sector is a leading economic engine of this region is not surprising. In fact, the #1 business in this region is the federal government, and second to that is the professional services and business sector, followed closely by the universities. This makes a great deal of sense because the top two sectors could not function without the support of the universities, because the government is a knowledge industry, and so is the professional services sector. What they manufacture, laws, policies, research, knowledge base, and those sectors need the productivity of the universities in order to have the workers necessary to support their needs. It is hard to get a job in this region without a college degree. Our study shows that fully 76% of the jobs advertised in the District of Columbia online require college degrees, 76% of the jobs being advertised. Our studies also show that having a college degree makes a tremendous difference in the employment rate. In the District of Columbia, 19% of high school graduates are unemployed this year, but 4.2% of the college graduates. That's a huge difference, and in fact, that 4.2% bests the national average for the unemployment rate of college graduates. Most significantly, in this region, college graduates make a mean average salary of $83,000 compared to $45,000 for high school graduates. And of course, those kinds of salaries then reinvest in the economic health of the region. In fact, College education is so important in this region. Here in the District of Columbia, 10 years ago, the DC Tuition Assistance Grant Program was created. The DC College Access Program was created to encourage our local residents to go to college. And over the last 20 years, we have seen the percentage of DC residents attending college rise from 27% in the late 1980s to 48% in the year 2009. That is a tremendous increase because the city saw the need to invest in college attendance. Maryland and Virginia do the same for their citizens. So, a higher education is one of the best values for long-term economic growth for individuals, for families, and for this region. And we're very grateful to Dr. Fuller for the tremendous work he's done in providing the facts and figures to make the case. Thank you.
To add to the thoughts about the importance of educational access for the residents of the district, I'd like to ask Dr. Sessoms, the president of the University of the District of Columbia, to come forward.
And say something. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here, Barbara. Thank you very much. You look great in the Washington Post magazine. It was really very nice. I like the outfit. The University District of Columbia is the only public university in Washington, D.C., as you know. We are aggressively trying to, it's been around for 160 years. Some of you don't know that. We're celebrating 160th anniversary this year. But we're aggressively trying to address one of the major dysfunctions of the society. Pat McGuire mentioned that the college readiness, preparedness is probably essential for most to even get jobs in this town. But a college degree is probably going to be absolutely the bottom line in 10 years. 300,000 jobs, I think we'll hear about that from Steve, are going to be open in the District of Columbia in 10 years, or over the next 10 years. But we have a population that is one-third of the population of the District of Columbia is functionally illiterate. One-third has third-grade reading levels or less. But we also have in this town the highest population of educated people in the country. 47% have bachelor's degrees or higher. So we created at the University District of Columbia a community college to address the needs specifically of those folks who are disenfranchised. Because without a college degree, or at least some college education, you're not going to go anywhere in this economy. And without being able to engage a third of the population in this town, the economy is not going to do very well. So the idea is to bridge the gap between what is a fairly unfortunate circumstance for a lot of people to the job market. Education is crucial, in fact, to get them to where they can be trained for jobs. You can't train a worker for a job in almost any industry if they can't read. So the first step in the puzzle is to actually give them literacy training, which takes some time, and then you can begin the workforce development piece. This is something that the District of Columbia is just grappling with now. It's been spending $68 million a year in workforce development with very little return just because you can't train people who aren't educated in the first instance. So the university is addressing this pretty aggressively. 60% of our students are DC residents, which is, I think, a major statement. But we're trying to aggressively recruit a broader spectrum of talent so we can actually get people to come here and stay here. One of the things that the District of Columbia is a magnet for extraordinary talent, but we have to find ways of bringing that extraordinary talent here, growing it here through the public high school system, and then making it stick. So as a public university, we have an obligation to begin that effort of social engineering, and we're aggressively trying to do it.